to see you watching as we kick off a new week of CNN 10. Our season runs through Friday, June 1st, so we have 3 weeks left on air starting today. And we start today with a by-the-numbers look at a dangerous situation on Hawaii's Big Island. That's where the notoriously active Kilauea volcano has been erupting again for about a week and a half now. The first number we have is almost 2,000. It's how many residents have been evacuated since the volcano started this eruption. Dozens of homes have been destroyed by lava. Next, 12. That's the distance in miles away from the crater that ash plumes could cover if an explosive eruption occurs. Scientists expect more of those in the days ahead, and new lava flows are also possible. $2.9 million is the estimated cost in dollars that Hawaiian officials expect will be needed to protect residents affected by the eruption. And that's for the next 30 days. U.S. President Donald Trump declared a major disaster in Hawaii on Friday. What that does is free up federal money and resources to help those affected. 18 is the number of fissures, cracks in the ground where lava is seeping or spewing out, all caused by this eruption. Some of the fissures are miles away from Kilauea's crater itself. And the last number here is 1924. That's the year when the Kilauea volcano last behaved like this, according to some scientists. It was active for about 3 weeks then, sending ash high into the air and blasting blocks weighing as much as 14 tons. Now for a scientific look at how this eruption is playing out beneath the surface.
This is the layout here of Leilani Estates. There's the evacuation zone. There are the closed roads. The new fissures have impacted the eastern area here, so we'll continue to monitor that. But this whole area here, folks, have been taken out of the way with good reason, as you can imagine, as these things continue to pop up just every few hours, every day or so. This is the lake, of course, and this is the camera that I've been showing you the last few days, noticing that as the lake drained its lava, it went underground, and that's the lava that's coming up through the fissures. I think, again, that's going to be the main threat. Notice as this continues to go down over the last several days, in one of our last pictures here, we can't see the lava anymore. That's an infrared camera, so the red you're seeing there, that's basically just a heat signature here. So as that lava drops into the crater and into the basically water table, let's talk about what could potentially happen as far as this explosive eruption here as we check in with our volcano. There's the lava. And again, what happens is you get these rocks that will continue to fall down, and that will create a blockage. I don't have to tell you what happens with the kinds of temperatures we're seeing in here. We're talking about temperatures well into 1,500 to 2,000 Celsius, right? Those rocks blocking that passageway at some point are going to give. And once that goes into the water tables you see there, we're going to have, watch out, quite an explosion here. But again, I'm really not too concerned about this. It's going to be a spectacular eruption when it happens, but I think, Cyril, because they have evacuated people out of the way, these boulders, which sometimes can be the size of a school bus, are not going to be impacting many folks. This is going to be within a few meters of the crater here, and before that happens, you must imagine people will be getting out of the way, and that's why they've closed the National Volcano Park there in the Big Island.
10-second trivia. What is the biggest factor in the price of gasoline? Taxes, crude oil, distribution, or refining costs? Cost of crude oil is by far the biggest factor in what you pay for a gallon of gasoline.
Hitting the road? This will likely be the most expensive summer driving season in years. Filling up the tank will cost 14% more than last summer. Summer gas already tends to be more expensive because federal and state laws require cleaner fuel for the busy and hot summer months. But what else goes into the cost of filling up? Well, those refining costs and profits are the smallest slice of what you pay at the pump. There's also the cost of shipping and selling the gas itself. That depends on where you live. So do taxes. They make up about 1/5 of the cost of your gasoline. But the biggest factor, it's the price of crude oil, and it's rising.
There are several reasons for that. One, the global economy is improving. When that's in good shape, the demand for oil increases, causing its price to rise. Two, political instability. Economic trouble in Venezuela, the ongoing civil war in Syria, uncertainty over the Iran nuclear deal. All of these things can cause oil prices to go up. Three, Major exporters of oil are pumping less of it. Some of them, like Saudi Arabia, want crude prices to be higher. Countries whose economies are dependent on oil sales generally have higher revenues when crude prices go up. A downside to all of this, though, is what happens here. The American Automobile Association says the U.S. national average for a gallon of gas is $2.86. That's 52 cents higher per gallon than it was a year ago. And though it's nowhere near the record of $4.11 hit in 2008, gas prices can eventually hurt the U.S. economy if they climb too high. Next story is about a CNN hero named Neil Burmas, a businessman who'd traveled the world but was stopped suddenly by something he saw in Vietnam back in 1999. It led him to create Streets International, an organization that offers help and a career path to threatened people between the ages of 16 and 22. By the end of this year, almost 250 people will have completed the program.
I first came to Vietnam almost 20 years ago. There were bands of these poor, homeless kids on the streets, and they were begging for milk, not for money. It touched me in a way that I couldn't divorce myself from it.
What's this fish called? Is it sea bass? No.
I'm a classic New Yorker. I'm passionate and I'm full of energy. I also did a lot of consulting for hotels and restaurants. I knew the opportunities, and so I thought right away, well, how can we start to build a bridge here in Vietnam? I was just crazy enough to think that I could make that happen, and here we are.
Hello, everybody.
The young people in our program come from the whole country with all kinds of very, very difficult pasts. We have kids with HIV background, kids from leprosy villages. Some have already been trafficked, sometimes more than once.
The banana breads are done.
We offer a structured program for 18 months, either in culinary or hospitality, and a very extensive and important life skills program.
Eating healthy.
English language instruction is a big part of what we do.
If I have a good English, I can talk to the guests.
You'll do great. Beautiful. Okay, kick up.
The flagship eatery is our restaurant. It's traditional Vietnamese food. We have a rather large stretch of a campus between the housing where our young people live, our training center, our 3 different eateries. So all the kids get a bicycle when they come to the program.
Part of the process of selecting and then getting to know the trainees is that we visit wherever they're from. How is Mom?
Yes, she's doing good.
All the young people in our program come from poverty. Poverty without enough to eat, poverty without electricity, without plumbing.
Before, we hungry a lot in my family here. Mr. Neil, he helped me to know about how cooking and English, listening, and get a good job so I get some money for my family now.
She was Employee of the Year last year. She just finished Streets a few years ago. It's an amazing story. We raise the aspirations of the whole village, and the whole village starts to think about, oh, maybe my kid too. At the end of 18 months, 100% of our kids are fully employed, mostly at 4- and 5-star international hotels.
Oh, more! This is for the family.
There were certainly moments I thought, are you sure you really want to give up the Upper West Side of Manhattan and come live in Vietnam? But of course I did, and it was probably the best, if not certainly the most meaningful decision I've made in my adult life.
There are a whole lot of people in this world who love pandas just because they're cute. Whether or not you agree with them, you can't say pandas are graceful, at least not this one at the National Zoo. First, he gets stuck, and then hilariously covers his head like he's ashamed, and after a few moments, the inevitable happens. The zoo says he's fine, that pandas are built to withstand falls from trees, and shortly afterward, he's up climbing again. Panda fall, panda go bam-boom. Maybe he should have tried a different tree, like one strong as oak, a type less willowy that wouldn't cause weeping, one more spruced up. There are deciduously better options. Someone should have a coniference with him so he doesn't get left in the lurch. I'm Carl Azuz for CNN 10.